It is St. Paddy's Day. It's touch and go on whether I will be part of this broadcast as I see my Wi-Fi going up and down and disappearing on me. My name is Kevin Joseph. I'm a good Scottish boy with a good Irish name. Happy St. Paddy's Day if you have been celebrating. This is, if you're listening to the podcast version with a hangover, I hope you had a great time. But we're here to talk mix, and
Uh-oh.
we might see ringsies.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, Kevin and I are Twinkies today, so.
Well, I haven't been a Twinkie in a very long time. I'm a bear at best.
Okay. And you froze again. So, your internet's being weird. I'm gonna talk for a little bit, and we'll get things kicked off here in just a moment. But Kevin's internet's being weird. Kevin, you might want to pop out and pop back in, or see if that helps, because you're totally frozen. But while he's working on that, you guys are stuck with me, so sorry about that. But we're going to talk to some creators tonight. We've got two amazing creators in the house. We've got Madeline Holly Rosing. I always mispronounce your name. I'm sorry about that.
Yes, it's Rosing.
Rosing. And she's here with Boston Metaphysical Society. And then we've got Wes Gift with Hard Justice. So welcome, both of you. What we typically do is we start off with a quick elevator pitch for your project. Like a 30-second, if someone's walking past your table at a con, short of having a big, really long cane and grabbing them by the neck and jerking them over, how would you get their attention? And Wes, let's kick it off with Hard Justice.
Yeah, so Hard Justice tells the story of two guys, Saint and Rex, when criminals rise up to take control of their beloved city, Paradise Bay. They decide that they're going to take matters into their own hands, using their fists to put criminals, to put a stop to the criminal activity. So it's Lethal Weapon meets Double Dragon.
Cool. Sounds awesome. All right. And rookie mistake maker. That's cool. Madeline.
Yes.
What can you tell us about Boston Metaphysical Society?
Well, it's about an ex-Pinkerton detective, a spirit photographer, and a genius scientist who battle supernatural forces in late 1800s Boston. So, as you could probably tell from that, it's a steampunk supernatural series with a mystery detective twist involved. And in this series, I'm doing mystery at Pikes Peak. I'm moving them from Boston to Colorado Springs.
Cool. Well, excellent. I believe our patron saint is back now, Kevin Joseph.
The rookie mistake is I had Facebook up. I was trying to find the video thing. I had Facebook up, but I'm looking at my Wi-Fi and it is teetering on the edge of falling off a cliff. I'm still not drinking, but I'm starting to have my Bud Zero because, gosh darn it, I may just be listening and enjoying your talk. I'm going to get more on Hard Justice. I heard Double Dragon, which I'm in. I heard Die Hard, which I'm in. I've been in on Boston Metaphysical for about 3 years now. So let's dive into Boston Metaphysical.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, no.
Well, he's going to sit back and watch. So in the spirit of Kevin, let's take a deep dive into Boston Metaphysical. And we can do this a couple of ways, Madeline. I can share the screen for you, or you can actually present one of your Chrome tabs, so you have control of presenting your page, your Kickstarter page.
Oh, you're welcome to do it, because
okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
I'm not doing it.
Probably wise.
Probably for the best, Kevin. Probably for the best. All right. One moment, and I will get that pulled up. And let's see here. Present, screen share. So if you want to go ahead and start, we can just kind of take a deep dive. We can look at, this is you're kind of on your third volume of the series, right? Is that
this correct? Is the third volume. It started off as the original 6-issue miniseries with art by Emily Hugh, and That's volume 1, which I also refer to as the complete original series. And then I did 4 standalone sequels with art by Gwen Tavares and compiled that into what I now, is known as volume 2. Each of those volumes have additional stories which are exclusive to those trades. And Mystery of Pikes Peak is a 4-issue miniseries. What we're doing here is funding the first 2 issues. We're doing a few things differently here that I've never done before. One, we're doing variant covers, and we're also doing metal covers of the variant covers. The first 2 there, those are our main covers by Angela Wu. She'd done some work for Skies of Fire, Ray Chow over at Mythiopia. And she's just doing an amazing job. It's been wonderful working with her. And actually, we have a whole new team. Elizabeth McKedza is doing the interior art, which you see some of that there. And Katie Brown is our colorist. Troy Pateri is back on board as our letterer. He's been with me forever, so I can't imagine life without him. That's the cover of volume 1 with a cover by Roberta Ingranata. And she may sound familiar to you because she does Doctor Who for Titan Comics.
Oh, cool.
And that's the cover of volume 2, which was done by Marguerite Savage, who has done Archie. She's done a ton of stuff. She's amazing. And Roberta Ingranata also did a short 10-page story for that.
Excellent.
The variant covers, the first one there is by Rio Burton. Did a marvelous job. And the second is by Steph C. And those are available, obviously, but also as metal covers as well. And those are limited to 25. I have to say that the Rio Burton one as an add-on, they're available in 2 places, as an add-on or in a reward tier. As an add-on, the Rio Burton is currently sold out. And we have other rewards like the the audio drama. If you want to scroll down a little bit more. Yeah, that is a separate story that takes place during the time period of the original 6-issue miniseries. And as you guys probably know, I do a different pin for every single Kickstarter. It's just become a thing now. People collect them. So this is one of the Tesla coil. The design is done by Alejandro Lee. And you can get the full current set as well.
Cool.
Yeah, for lapel pin, for pin people, this is like a thing. And I have a prequel novel and a prequel anthology of short stories and novellas. So if you need your prose fix and your graphic novel fix, you can do both.
Nice. And then you've got, let's see, story behind the story.
The usual money thing, international. Yeah, we're doing add-ons with Kickstarter for the first time. So you can add on the audio drama CD, a digital download without commercials, the Tesla coil pin, and the variant covers. And this is just, it goes more into the team of the different volumes as we've changed over the years. A fan reminded me last year, which so startled me. Last year was our 10th anniversary.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Yeah, it was our 10th anniversary. So we've been, usually we've had a new issue or a new volume out every year for the last 10 years.
That's amazing. So, as far as, you've talked some steampunk, you've got, I guess not really Victorian, but kind of in that era.
It's going on as well. Yeah, it's Boston Metaphysical is more steampunk-ish than steampunk, and it is an alternate history. For those who are unfamiliar, it takes place in what I call the Great States of America, not the United States of America. It's extremely hierarchical, and the government is a parliamentary oligarchy, and it's run by wealthy families.
Oh, so like today, right?
We're like, unfortunately, we're kind of going that way.
That was your fault, Madeline?
Yeah.
Apparently so. Apparently that's my fault.
Well, what has kind of drawn you to this era and these characters? I mean, you keep coming back to them. It's you seem to really like to play in this world that you've created. So what is it about it that really appeals to you?
Well, one, it's a really huge world that I've developed, and it keeps expanding all the time. But one of the several reasons I chose this time period is in the late 1800s was a time of incredible change in the great states, or the United States, in America. Cultural, social, technological, so many things were changing that it was really uprooting social norms, technology. So it was, for me as a writer, it was rife for organic conflict, because everywhere you turned, something was changing, and if something changed, it's going to piss somebody off.
Absolutely.
Somebody. Oh, that's a good question.
I don't trust my mic, so I put it in the banners.
Okay, yeah. Was Mystery of Pikes Peak always part of the BMS outline, or have you found? Oh, it went away too fast. Or have you found this new story as the series went on? This was kind of hinted at that it was going to go to Tesla's experimental station at the end of our first standalone sequel, The Scourge of the Mechanical Men. But I didn't have the story. And so by the time I finished those sequels and I had done the audio drama, I actually kind of pulled elements from the audio drama and from one of my short stories that are sort of like seated within as reference. And some of my earlier stuff, like A Storm of Secrets from the novel. So it was I kind of had the idea of like, we could go there someday, but I didn't have the exact story at the time I was originally thinking about it. It wasn't until I realized, at the end of the 4 sequels that, it might be fun to bring Tesla back in. Let's go back into Tesla's world and the experimental station. And also it was a great way to introduce other dynamics within their world, because they're outside of the urban area, the Northeast. And so I'm able to take not only myself, but my characters outside of their comfort zone. And so a lot of this stuff is like new to them. And I integrate some real history with, obviously this is all fictional, but some of the things that are happening. And the one main difference here that differs from actual history is I posited, what if the Chinese Exclusionary Act never happened? What would the West Coast look like? And so we actually begin to see a glimpse of Great House Chow, because we meet Mai Hui Chow from California, who's working with Tesla, and the politics and the dynamics of how the different houses from different regions in the country are dealing with each other. Sometimes it's good and sometimes not so good.
I can imagine. Now, you mentioned, last year was your 10th anniversary.
Yeah.
Do you have plans yet for the 20th?
Oh my God. Yeah, if you told me 10 years ago this is where I'd be, I'd go like, you're crazy, you're nuts. That's just not going to happen. No, it's I kind of have a broad sense of where I want to do. There's other projects I want to do other than Boston Metaphysical. And I'd love to get to them, but I have to find the time. And
absolutely.
And this is the project that basically helps support other projects.
Yeah, I understand. Well, and just as a quick, because I always like to mention this, you've actually written a book on Kickstarter.
Yes.
And how to use Kickstarter for comics, which is amazing, by the way. Thank you for all that great advice. And
You're welcome.
you practice what you preach. You're putting it to work, and doing the job, doing the Kickstarter work.
Yeah, trust me, I'm just as scared as everybody else when you click on that launch button, because as soon as you click on that launch button, even me, you see the big fat zeros.
Yes.
When are they going to move? And then
what if
you're like,
nobody
okay.
backs it?
And then it's like, okay, time to go to work. And then, everything you've put in place, in pre-launch, that's when you start, that starts coming in and doing that. Do you feel you're veering farther away from accurate history as you move forward in time of the story, or you stay as close to history now as you did with volume 1? I'm probably trying to stay relatively close.
Okay.
Just because it provides grounding for the story and relatability. So, I mean, obviously there's going to be changes, but there'll be little things that you'll see in the background that actually occurred, but they're not the focus of the story. They're just to enrich your experience.
Gotcha. Shawnee Myers. Hey, Shawnee, one of our regular viewers. She says the big fat zeros can be very intimidating.
Oh my God, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, as far as I mean, you've mentioned you've got variant covers for the first time for this campaign, so trying something new there. And some of them are going to be metal. You'll have metal versions of those as well.
Yes.
Is there any particular reward tier that you want to point out to someone, or is that you're particularly proud of? Besides the entire book, I know, but is there something that you want to highlight on the project?
Probably the 4 covers reward tier, where you get all 4. So you get the 2 main covers by Angela, and you get the 2 variants, so you get all the pretties.
Very cool.
And then if you're big on pins, you can add on the pin and the audio drama as well. So there's lots of cool things. That's so beautiful.
I mean, your covers, your main covers look fabulous, but then your variants are also spectacular. I mean, Rio Burton's cover is amazing. You're using that for the project image, which is extraordinarily eye-catching. So yes,
yeah,
bravo.
I love the look over, Caitlin looking over the shoulder, and the lightning all around her really evokes also what's going on in the story. So they all did a tremendous job.
Excellent. Well, all right, that sounds good. So I think at this point, we're going to slide over into some hard justice, if that sounds good. Wes, welcome, sir. And I'm going to share your screen in just a moment. I'm going to stop sharing here and see if I can figure this out.
Could I ask Madeline a question real quick?
Sure.
Madeline, you mentioned that you wrote a book about running Kickstarters for comics. Where could one find this book?
Yes, it is called Kickstarter for the Independent Creator. Okay. It is on Amazon and all ebook platforms. And be sure to get the one with the green cover. Green. That is the second edition. One of these days I will update that, just because Kickstarter, it's constantly evolving. I mean, They just started putting images on yesterday.
Yes. Yeah.
And the add-on feature, which I know the last couple of years has been kind of rough in the background, and when I'm talking to people, so this is the first time I've come on board with the Kickstarter add-ons, because I think I don't like to be the beta tester for anything. So I let others wait till they work out the bugs, and then I come on board. but all of the basic strategies you need is all there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
excellent. All right, well, Wes, I've got the page shared here. So, what can you tell us about Hard Justice? You know, we heard your elevator pitch. Now let's take a deep dive.
Sure. So on your own time, folks, there is a really cool video for my campaign you can check out. Yeah, well, if you just want to scroll down, I'll stop you when we get to certain parts. So first off, right off the bat, this is cover A. This is by my artist, Bryce O'Quay. And if you're a classic gamer fan like myself and my team, this cover is an homage to the box art of Double Dragon 2. So, you know, classic video games like Double Dragon, Streets of Rage, River City Ransom were heavy influences on this story. So Bryce, when we talked about covers, he said, you know, I want to really pull on that Double Dragon vibe. So that was the inspiration for our cover A that you see here on your screen in front of you. And well, if you want to scroll down a little bit more, we should have some pages that
awesome.
that we can see. Yeah, so here's some of our pages. So Hard Justice is a 33-page black and white American Standard comic. This features one of our main characters, Saint. He basically infiltrates a casino party on a riverboat because the owner there in the center here, Robbie Redmond, he's throwing this party for nefarious purposes, and so Saint arrives on the scene to bust it up and put an end to all of it. Of course, stopping a party run by a bunch of criminals on a riverboat is not going to come easy. So Robbie Redmond has got some bodyguard assassins here that is going to protect him, but obviously Saint is prepared for that and takes care of him. So that features Saint. This first page of this section of the story, this is where Rex comes on scene. He's basically shopping for groceries, and this gang comes in to just cause trouble. He doesn't stand for that. So, but my creative team, so Bryce O'Quay is a friend of mine. He's done some work for Z2 Comics. My letterer is Taylor Esposito, who has lettered, for every publisher that's out there. And then right here, you see this is our variant cover. We only have one variant cover, but this is by Justin Stewart, who has frequently collaborated with Jim Mahfood. He's done work for Marvel and Image. And again, back to the whole video game inspiration, this is a swipe of the Double Dragon 1 cover art. Again, leaning heavily into that Double Dragon vibe. So let's see, what else can I tell you about this? Scroll down a little bit more, Will.
Okay.
If you don't mind, please. Okay, so yeah, now I can talk about some of the rewards that we have. So right here is our logo. That is we're going to offer that as a die cut sticker is one of the rewards that we have. A buddy of mine, Jay Hammond, designed these trading cards for us. So we've got a trading card of Saint. We've got a trading card of our other hero, Rex Sampson. And this is exciting. So there's been a project on Kickstarter for a while now called Blood Force Trauma by two guys, Jake Smith and Hiram Corbett. Jake Smith is the artist, and I've been a big fan of this Kickstarter that they've run for the last year and a half. But I fell in love with the art style and Blood Force Trauma. I reached out to Jake and I said, "Hey, is there any openings in your schedule to do a pinup for Hard Justice?" And he said, "Absolutely." So I simply told him, "Here are my two characters. Have fun." And this is what he came back with like this movie poster style pinup of our two characters and some bad guys. So this is one of the pinups we're going to offer in our Kickstarter. The next is another pinup. So Hard Justice is influenced by video games I played growing up and action movies I watched growing up. So this pinup is an homage to the Sylvester Stallone, Kurt Russell classic Tango and Cash. So we replaced those two actors with our two characters. My friend Tyler Ryder did this for us. So this is another pinup we're going to offer. So very exciting. We hit our funding goal very quickly, and now we're working towards stretch goals. So I mentioned that the story itself is 33 pages, and so we're going to add on 3 pages to make it a grand total of 36. And those 3 extra pages will have bonus behind the scenes content. Bryce has got a bunch of character sketches he can add, thumbnails, pencil sketches, script pages that I've written. But when the campaign closes, we're going to run a poll and let all of our backers choose what they want to see in that behind the scenes content. So we're going to let our backers choose how we fill up those last 3 pages. And so we've unlocked the bonus content. This morning, we just unlocked the digital comics bundle that Bryce and I are putting together. We've got some other comics projects we've done, and we have some other friends and collaborators that are contributing to that digital bundle as well. Every backer will receive that indie bundle of digital comics. So after the next stretch goal we're working towards is 4,000. We basically got more stickers, more pinups. I do want to point out something. If we manage to hit the $5,000 stretch goal, I don't have a picture of this on the screen, Will, but I'm going to try to show this on camera. So our $5,000 stretch goal is a custom printed hard justice coin.
Oh, cool.
That a friend of mine, so it's got the hard justice logo on this side. It's kind of hard to see, but the flip side, we're going to put a QR code sticker on the back so that anybody who makes a physical play or pledges for a physical reward for hard justice, if we hit that stretch goal, they'll get this coin. It'll have a QR code on the back, and they can always keep up with us because we plan. So the plan for hard justice, it would be great to have Madeline's longevity for hard justice, but for right now, we're planning 5 issues. This is issue 1, and so to prepare for this Kickstarter, I mean, I've already funded the production costs for issue 1. So everything we raise in this campaign will go towards printing issue 1, shipping issue 1 to all of our backers, and then everything else is going towards production for issue 2. Because we've got the hard justice train rolling, we want to keep it rolling.
Excellent. Well, so you've mentioned gaming, action movies. Are you going to explore more of that? Are you going to go into other things from that you're interested in? In the 5 issues, what can we expect in this issue and subsequent issues as you finally make it to number 5?
Sure. So we're going to kind of keep it in that vein of inspirations of video games and movies for the first 5 issues. After those first 5 issues, of course, as we're working on this, we're always brainstorming other things we could do, and we might take a different direction after the first 5 issues. But so what can you expect? So what you find out in issue 1 is that there is one crime lord that they're on the pursuit for in issue 1, and Saint and Rex, they both have this idea that they want to clean up the city and protect it, and they find out that they're each looking for the same guy. Okay, but of course there's a criminal hierarchy in the city of Paradise Bay, so if they take out somebody, chances are there's somebody above them that they were reporting to. So it's not just, issue 1, they get the bad guy and that's it. They're starting to unravel this big criminal web conspiracy. So with each issue, they dive a little bit deeper into this criminal underworld until they finally get the big bad, which will be at the end of issue 5.
As every video game has, you go little boss to big bad.
Exactly. So, yeah.
Kevin, you're back. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yay, Kevin's back.
I knew I was going to do about 7 words there. I thought I could get them out. This is going to be a great podcast for me because I can, re-listen to it and have no idea what anyone said for 83% of the show. So thank you guys for bearing with me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. So as Kevin and I talk a lot, offline and we talk a lot with, kind of our circle of creator friends that, we're in contact with regularly. Have either of you noticed anything different on Kickstarter, for this launch as opposed to previous launches? Obviously they've done some new things, but are you doing better than you expected? Are you doing worse than you expected, or about the same? How have your experiences been, with these launches?
Who wants to start?
Well, if I could interject,
Sure.
this is actually my first comic book, my first ever Kickstarter campaign.
Oh, awesome!
And
That's
you're blowing out of that is, you know what? Honestly,
you're doing really well.
Past your funding goal in your first campaign and kicking butt, going on things. That is amazing, Wes. Good job.
Yeah, absolutely. Congratulations.
Thank you. So I'm the type of person that, I'm a planner. I have to be organized. I guess so. Some things I've learned that were helpful is, I'm a brand new comics creator on the scene. I've heard people talk about building your audience. I'm brand new. I don't have an audience. So I had my, thank you, Shawnee. Shawnee gave me a congrats over here. I had my pre-launch page up for 3 months. And for 3 months, I just talked about it. I pushed it. I promoted it. And I slowly saw my follower count growing over time. I looked at other Kickstarters to see, what were they doing well? What are some things I like that I want to include in mine? What are some things they were doing while their campaign was running to kind of mimic and kind of have that same behavior and hopefully that same success? So
it's not stealing, it's modeling successful behavior.
Successful behavior. I like that.
Absolutely. I mean, Wes, you do everything that I always talk about with people, and that you need to go study other campaigns, not only successful ones, but also unsuccessful ones. So you see what their page doesn't have or the rewards don't have. And I see some Kickstarters on right now that are struggling because they have like the reward tiers go from $10 to $50. And there's no 25, 35, that nice little happy spot which people are comfortable giving.
Sure.
And that's because I look at it, I said, they should be doing so much better. Like, what's wrong? And I went like, oh, this is why. And even a gentleman who I used to actually teach kick crowdfunding courses here locally in Los Angeles. I don't do that anymore. I just don't have time. But a gentleman who took one of my classes years ago contacted me, says, I'm gonna launch something. You promised to look at my page. I said, sure. Well, the first page he showed me was just awful. And I told him that. I said, you did one thing right, but the rest, this is just not going to work. And your price points aren't working. And so I said, this is some ideas what you can do. He went back. He did a great job of refurbishing this thing. I mean, just amazing. And he's successful. He has like 4 days to go. He's doing very well. But yeah, it's really important to, your reward tiers, making sure that page looks presentable. It's almost like a type of grant proposal.
Yeah.
And I think people, tend to forget that this is a business, and you need to present your project very clearly. Like I always tell people, always right at the top underneath your video, tell me what this money is for. Tell me what you're doing here. Tell me that this is to print a 200-page full color graphic novel with dotted whatever. And I'll go like, okay, this is a reasonable amount to ask. This is what they're asking. I'll read a little more. If I have to go look for that, you've lost me.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, and your point about the going from 10 to 50 is such a great point. I've been on campaigns that I wanted to back for more, but if I'm super happy to back 20 or 25 sometimes, but not 50 often. So you certainly want to give me the chance to go from 5 to 10, 10 to 25, 25 to 35, that you have to give people those, and some people will go up during the campaign as they get to know you better and trust you better during the campaign.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And for those of us who pledge to a lot of campaigns, you have to have that, that kind of like go get them kind of pledge where it's like a $5 or a $7 because you're backing so many people and you want to support them, but you do have a budget.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have a monthly budget for Kickstarters, and when it's done, it's done. But, I try to spread the love as much as I can. But,
Sure.
that's why I love those. One, I have very little space. So digital is usually my go-to. And so it's like, give me a decent price on a digital and I'm in.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And Wes has just a $5 introductory PDF, which I think is a great
perfect
midpoint and stuff like that. Will and I, one of the things we do is we don't invite people on the show that we don't plan to back. So yeah, this is last year we've definitely been pushing our backing numbers up into some numbers that we didn't expect to see, but it's fabulous and fun to do. But yeah, I'm doing many fewer $45 and $50 pledges now. I'm doing many more $5 to $15 pledges. But I love doing it, and it's just neat to see these campaigns. Like, Wes, this is your first campaign, and
you're doing great.
A month, 2 months, 3 months, I don't know who you're printing with, you're gonna have your first comic book in your hands. How exciting is that?
Oh, that's gonna be insanely exciting, especially because this whole hard justice process started 2 years ago. I was at a show in West Virginia, met Kyle Starks. I had written some shorter comic stories, but I asked him, I said, what does it take for me, a writer who has no artistic skill, what would it take for me to get into the industry, to break in? And he says, you have to have a book. You have to show that you have a book, that you can make a book and, put it in people's hands. So I had 2 separate stories that I combined into one to make hard justice, and, lengthened it up to make a full book. So for 2 years, I've been working towards that book. And here in June, I'm going to have that book in my hands, and it's going to be, it's going to make this whole process worth it.
That's great.
So in indie comics, we call 2 years 1/5 of a holly.
1/5 of a
holly. So yeah, you're making comics. Guess what? You're in comics now. Congratulations.
Yeah. You are. No, it's you did all the hard work, and that was very smart to set up your launch page 3 months ahead of time. I mean, when I first started out, I self-funded my first 3 issues, and my first issue, I did like a special perfect bound, only printed like 200 copies. And then I would go to cons with a friend of mine. We shared a table, and I just had my one little book. But you put the mailing list sign-up sheet right there, and have little postcards or something. And that's how I started. And I built an audience. And I used to go to like 20 cons a year. But I don't do that anymore. I don't. That's insane. I do about maybe 9 to 10. But
Shawnee is asking you, Madeline, to come to talk to some of the researchers at our university to help them in their grant writing. Are you available for that? I know you're not doing the Kickstarter class anymore.
Grant writing, my understanding, I used to do some I used to be a marketing director in another life, and I have done some, and they're actually very difficult because they tend to be very dry. But the kicker there is you need to write it in the present tense, because it makes it more immediate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. Very cool.
Well, I know one thing that Wes told me as he popped on. Tomorrow is the first comic convention that he's ever going to exhibit at.
Oh my God! Congratulations!
So a lot of firsts. You don't have Hard Justice. What are you going to have at the con?
Hard Justice flyers, Hard Justice swag, anything and everything I can put on the table to get people's attention. So
you're going to be trying to push the Kickstarter at the show.
Yes.
Don't forget that mailing list.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'll work on that before I go to bed.
Oh yeah. You don't need anything fancy. Just get it like a Word or Excel spreadsheet with lines on it and throw it on the table.
Okay.
Do you have a mailing list do you have one right now that you send to, on a semi-regular basis?
I do not know. That's something I need to break into and start doing.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's definitely something to start doing, and cons are a great place. Have something to give people for anybody who joins, whatever that may be. You can have tiny candy in a bowl, but you can have like nice Snickers in the back, and the nice Snickers go to people who join the mailing list.
okay.
And underneath the table.
Yeah.
And when you do your surveys, one of the questions you have to ask people is, hey, would you like to hear more about Hard Justice? Can I put you on my mailing list? And maybe half the people say yes, maybe half the people say no, but you've got 110 backers. Even if half say yes, that's 55 people to put on your list who have already stood up and said, I want Hard Justice. Mm-hmm. It is the meat and potatoes of your mailing list is going to come from Kickstarter anyway. Okay. So it's not the worst. You would always love to have a great mailing list coming in, but it's not the worst thing to seed it with these great backers that you already have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. No, you're on a very nice trajectory here. Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And there's lots. Have you researched mailing list stuff yet? There's lots of different providers. Tiny Letter, MailChimp, Substack. There's all kinds of them out there.
MailChimp is the one I've heard most often. So I mean, as of right now, that's probably what I'm going to lean towards and go with. So I just think it's time I actually set it up.
Take a look. MailChimp is doing some weird things right now.
Okay.
They're starting to cut off people at 500 subscribers, and then it becomes paid. I think I've been sort of grandfathered in. I don't know. It's been weird because they haven't dinged me yet. Because it used to be up to 2,000. And check out Sender.
Sender. Okay.
Sender and what is it? Send in Blue. There's Mailer Lite.
I've heard of that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's Send in Blue, Mailer Lite, and then I was just reading up about Sender as well because I'm thinking of change. I'm thinking of moving over.
Yeah.
There's also Sendee, but it is not, which I also use for a separate purposes. You need some IT backend ISP knowledge, and I have my web host to deal with that because they use the Amazon servers. It's extraordinarily cheap to send tens of thousands of emails through, but it's never going to be as pretty as, say, MailChimp or Sender. It's what you see is what you get. They don't have any pretty templates or anything like that.
Okay.
So, do a little research on that.
And definitely at the beginning stages, try to do it on free or cheap. I use ConvertKit because I had gotten my list up to multiple thousands. It's actually now down below where I could have gone back to MailChimp for free, but I also started hearing those rumblings that they were taking away some of the stuff. So whatever it is, but try not to put too much money into it to start, but eventually it's a good investment to have a nice email list. And here's the thing, when you start doing an email list, almost everyone, I did this, your first thought is, I'm never going to email people unless I've got something to tell them. Well, then you're only going to email them about 3 or 4 times a year when you have to sell something. And then they're just going to know Wes is the guy who only ever emails me when he has something to sell.
So, yeah.
So some rhythm of once a month, twice a month. You don't have to do it every week. I'm Wes. This is what I'm reading. This is what I'm watching. This is what I'm writing. Let them get to know you so that when 3 months from now, Hard Justice 2 is ready to kickstart, you send that email and people know who you are and they're ready to get back. So don't be afraid to email people. They've signed up for it. They've said yes. And guess what? Only 8 to 12% are going to open the email anyway. So you're not bothering anybody, because a lot of people aren't going to open your email. So don't be mad about that either.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I only do mine once a month, and I just do, whatever the update, what I'm working on, or, if what I'm thinking about working on, like when I made the Lady Mechanica announcement, like you guys know, did a story for Lady Mechanica, and, because that was kind of a big deal.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is. That is kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
Kind of a big deal. But I do reviews for Fanbase Press, so I pop in a couple of my reviews. If I'm doing a podcast, occasionally I'll do something called a monthly rant, which can be about anything. And I put anything in there of recipes, like I use Kodiak. I don't know, is it Kodiak mixes? And like Kodiak hacks for muffins or something. And I ran into one guy at a con who said, "I love your newsletter. I want more Kodiak hacks because I feed them to my kids."
That is awesome.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I apologize.
Or what was the other thing? Oh, we were debating, my husband and I, eventually we want to get an EV. And, I've been getting back and forth. And so, wondering how long my diesel is going to last. I have an 11-year-old VW diesel, which is great, but maybe it's 12 now. At some point, those plastic bits in it are going to fall apart. So, we're looking at EVs, and so I'm going off on EVs, and then people are emailing back about their experiences with their EVs, and so, it make it fun. As one fan of mine told me, he says, "Yeah, it's like my Thursday afternoon at work 5 to 7 minute read."
Mm-hmm.
Where he's just kind of chilling. It's almost the end of the day. He reads through it. Oh, and I also add like a couple of fun articles, I think the latest one, which was this week, was how they found a Jurassic moth at Walmart in the Midwest.
In Arkansas. In Arkansas. Yeah.
So, I had this picture of the Jurassic moth.
That's awesome. Joey's in the comments. Joey Galvez of the Geek Collective is in the comments saying HubSpot has a great form integration for WordPress. So just in your research, check out HubSpot. And I know Joey really wants me to tell you that when you're trying to figure out how you're going to send these comics, that if you are going to send them in a Gemini mailer, which I recommend, Will recommends, because it keeps them up, you can get them at their website and use Geek Collective 10, and you can get 10% off your order. So I know Joey really wants me to say that, because why not get 10% off?
Sure.
Yeah. Well, and that's something
keep reminding me about that, because I use the Uline S165s, which actually been really good.
Mm-hmm.
They've been excellent. They're a little cheaper, but because I buy them in bulk, because I send out a lot of comics, between that and the volume I'm getting, I think the price is going to be the same.
Yeah. Will and I have started keeping the Geminis that we get from, I'm keeping your Uline, I'm keeping Will's Geminis. I've got them in the garage, and I'm reducing, reusing, and recycling the Geminis. And Will actually asked his mailing list, "Do you have an issue with it?" And it was something like, no one said they had an issue. 30% said they didn't care, and 70% said yes, reuse the Geminis. So
yeah,
cutting into cardboard use and saving a couple bucks as well.
Absolutely.
And that's a good thing that you can also, you can survey your readers. Hey, this is what we're going to think we're about doing. So, you know, it doesn't have to be you just talking to them. It can be, you know, asking for feedback on this or that. You know, we're going to change the logo and make it purple this time. You like purple or you like green? You know, or you know, anything like that. So it's you can vary kind of the intents of each of your messages, you know, as you do them, you know, every week, 2 weeks, monthly, however, you know, often you want to do it. So yeah, it's pretty awesome. And talking to your readers is great, especially when they talk back.
Yeah. I have one bit of unsolicited advice. Take it or leave it. You do not have to. You had said you were thinking of when you break this next stretch goal and you add the 3 pages, surveying your readers about what to add. I would definitely put a very strong deadline on that of a week. Okay. Where if they want to be helping you decide, they have to answer within a week of that.
Good idea.
You don't want this to stretch into a month of waiting for what your back matter is and delaying your fulfillment.
Sure.
I've had issues where I've been asking people something and realizing I'm going to be late or, you know, getting closer to being late because of it. So real hard deadline and a real short deadline. So they know if they want to be in the decision making, they have to be in it immediately.
Sure.
Oh, and I chat with MK Palmer pretty regularly. She is on the ball with Meraki and all that. So it's nice to hear what she's doing and all her ideas. And she said something to me, and I just went, "That is so freaking obvious. Why have I not thought of that?" She said, "Why don't you print a QR code for your mailing list in your comic?" And I went,
"Oh,
yeah, we should have thought of that."
Why don't I?
Yeah, why don't I? Because I'm dumb. That's why. So yeah, there's awesome. You know, that's one of the great things about, I mean, and I'm sure Madeline and Kevin can talk to this too, but the indie comic community is so wonderful and so supportive of everybody in the community. I mean, it's a really great community because we all want each other to succeed, and we want more voices in the indie comic community. You know, if you're out there and you're listening to this podcast and you're saying, you know, well, I would like to make a comic, well, do it, make it. Yeah. We want to see your comic. We need to see your comic. The world needs it, right? So that's just one of the great things about the indie comics community. So reach out to other creators and chat. I mean, it's one of the really great benefits of, you know, the wisdom of everybody else. You know, I prefer to make all new mistakes instead of the mistakes that everybody else has made, right? So.
You're a trailblazer in that way.
That's right. Yeah.
I have the added advantage of I can go have lunch with Charlie Stickney.
Yep.
I think that he might say he has the added advantage of going and having lunch with you as well. Yes. I don't think that's a river only going one direction.
I definitely owe him a lunch. But yeah, he is a tremendous resource, and though this is my 12th campaign, I'm still learning stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And it's always evolving, which is why you're seeing new things. It's like, I've never done variant covers before because I've never like, why would people want variant? I don't understand, but they want them. So let's make them happy. And I said, well, metal is pretty.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Let's do metal but just do a very small. I mean, I have 25. That's it. It's never, ever going to be any more.
Nice.
And there's going to be a limited amount of these variants as well. So once they're ordered and they're gone, they're gone.
Nice.
So
yeah,
so you got to be waiting to see if somebody cancels. I actually, I think it was a year ago or so on one of Charlie's campaigns, I missed one of, I was working in the morning when he launched, and, you know, Charlie's campaigns are his 200 metal covers were gone in like 8 minutes. And I was like, oh, I missed it, whatever. And then, I noticed that thing that had been sold out had one left, so I think somebody canceled on it.
Yeah, that's kind of like, particularly if you're interested in stuff like that, the last 3 days, if you miss something, just kind of hover around because someone's going to cancel. And it might be the thing that you want, because there's a lot of movement in those last 3 days. So up, down, sideways, every which way.
And there's going to be some level of attrition from credit cards. Some cards aren't going to go through. So those, whatever, if those happen to be for those reward tiers, then those are going to go back into the
those are going to end up on backer kit.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, that's, or the equivalent, whatever you decide to use. Yeah. Since now Kickstarter is aligned with Pledgebox.
Pledge Manager?
Is it Pledge Manager or Pledgebox?
I don't, it's one of the two.
Yeah, pledge something.
You're right. They contacted me and I'm like, okay, this is interesting. And it's like,
it's really interesting. I do think that Kickstarter this is my outside of, I have no inside information, but I think they were super happy to have BackerKit just take a little stress off of them and make their money. And then BackerKit started a crowdfunding site, and Kickstarter said, okay, we're going to, this is a fight now. So it'll be very interesting, and it could be very good for creators to have two people competing on price and quality. So it's we had that with CrowdOx and BackerKit, and BackerKit bought CrowdOx. So it'll be interesting to see whether a big fish eats a little fish, or they kiss and make up, and BackerKit's crowdfunding goes away. I don't know what'll happen, but it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm sorry.
It's all good. It's good for us because it's competition, and I know Tyler James was talking about, they had approached him too through Kickstarter, and I think he was going to give them a shot.
Yes.
So,
nice.
Yeah. The C is for Cthulhu brand is they're going to take a gamble on the C for Cthulhu brand making them money. So I think Pledge Manager might have made a good gamble there.
I think so.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think so.
Well, I really appreciate you guys coming, especially the first 20 minutes where I was running around trying to grab Wi-Fi and put it in my computer. I promised you guys 45 minutes, and because I made everything long, it's about an hour. Can we do another 30-second pitch on the comics in case somebody is just coming home after a wee bit of the brown stuff, and turn on their computer? Wes, if they weren't here and they're coming past your booth tomorrow, how would you tell them to get interested in Hard Justice?
Sure. Hard Justice. When criminals rise up to take control of the city, two street-level heroes, Saint and Rex, decide to take matters into their own hands the hard way. It's Lethal Weapon meets Double Dragon. You can find us at www.hardjusticecomic.com.
Nice.
You might have spent that 3 months doing some work, buddy. I was doing this a year before I could even get close to that. Well done.
That is really good.
Madeline, Boston Metaphysical and Pikes Peak specific. How would you get somebody at a convention?
Sure. It's when the team is fleeing arrest from Boston, they go to the only safe haven they possibly have right now, which is Tesla's experimental station in Colorado Springs. There they meet Tesla's most unlikely partner, Mayhew Chow, a scientist from Great House Chow in California. But life gets more complicated when an attempt is made on Tesla's life, and Caitlin's psychic abilities take a dangerous turn.
Awesome. Cannot wait to read both of these. New volume and brand new comic. Thank you guys for spending St. Patty's with us.
Thank you.
Madeline, you're out there on the West Coast. You can go out and party. I'm going to bed. But Wes, great to meet you. Everybody who was in the chat,
nice
Joey, Shawnee, really appreciate coming up. And Will, next week, should we wear our Flash shirts? Batman, Wonder Woman? What are we doing?
We'll talk about it after.
It'll be a surprise. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you all.